up on my end.
All right, and Zoom is going. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Casey. We got Casey Benson, former Oregon point guard and Grand Canyon point guard, now playing professionally in Slovenia. Casey, thanks for coming on. How's kind of the overseas grind going? How's the team looking, and what's it kind of been like playing overseas during a pandemic? It's got to be pretty weird.
Well, no, thanks for having me. It's great to be with you guys. Obviously, I guess it's yesterday your time, today my time. So, but but the season's going well so far. We have a young team, so it has some ups and downs. But then this is, I should have said, this is actually my second year. I was in Slovenia 2 years ago, so kind of familiar to the country, to the league. So all in all, it's been a good season. Kind of grown and matured throughout the year and become a better player. And so it's been a nice year to work on my game and get better.
What's it kind of been like? So since everything shut down, I know were you in Finland or Bulgaria when everything like completely shut down?
I was in Bulgaria.
Okay.
I was in Bulgaria. Yep.
So what's that past year been like for you? Because obviously now you're able to go back to Slovenia, but did you come back to the States or did you go back? How was that for you?
So when I was in Bulgaria, and that was actually, Bulgaria was the best, like by far the best team that I've been on, best situation. So it was kind of a bummer. Like we had a chance to really, like we were in first when everything happened. So that was kind of a bummer not to be able to finish out the year and see if we could win the championship. But yeah, so from there, which was I guess about a year ago, went back home, to America, and was there from March until came out here in September. So kind of didn't really know, didn't really know what was going to happen. Like my agent was saying, he was just kind of in talks with some teams, and then finally came up with this opportunity and decided to take it. Obviously at that point I kind of just needed a job. So decided to take it, with, stuff was, or jobs were limited, with COVID and stuff. So yeah, I was back home for about 6 months, just training and stuff, and then decided to come out here. So, and then now I've been out here and got about a month left here, and so just trying to finish it out strong.
So when did you say that the season kind of got started again from the COVID pandemic?
So I got here in September, like mid-September, and then we actually started playing. I was only here for like 9 days before we played our first game. So I missed all of the like preseason practices and stuff, which I wasn't really too disappointed about, but so it was all good.
Was that like for all leagues then, or how? Apologies for my ignorance. I'm not
no.
as aware of the international game as much, but how does that work? So did everything kind of open up at once, or did different countries have different restrictions then?
It's actually pretty crazy because some like some were open, like some. Okay, so we opened here in September, but then I know a place like Belgium, they didn't open until like January or something. It's different places were like November. Some place, like I know I had a friend that was still playing in Finland. They started around September, but then they took like a whole month break in December. So everybody was kind of on their own schedule, I guess, so to speak, just depending on what their country was like, as far as the government. We had fans like our first 3 or 4 games, and then they shut everything down. We haven't had fans since. And we've only played, this is kind of crazy, but we've only played like 20 games in 6 months. So it's been
wow.
Yeah. So you're like a professional practice player, essentially.
Yeah.
It's
practice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, especially with 2 days.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is it still the same sort of like practice schedule, like even though it's more spread out, or has that been like adjusted to?
No, for the most part, like we do a lot of 2 practices a day, which is kind of actually even more taxing, like not playing games. It'd be nice if we had like play Wednesday, Saturday, but we just like right now we have 5 games left and we play 1 game a week. So,
oh my gosh.
So we just play every Saturday. Yeah. So it's like way different than America, obviously, where you play more games and it's kind of hard to get in a flow, but
that's like a college schedule.
No, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's like our YMCA schedule back in the
It's true. It's true.
There we go.
Did that
No,
one
it's to them,
hour
it's
practice
normal.
in the game.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, it's like football.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's weird. So when is the schedule or the playoffs scheduled for this year then?
So our league, we play our last regular season game's April 24th, and then depending on, like right now we're in the playoffs, but we're kind of fighting with another team. So if we make it, then it'll probably be like that, either that end of or last week of April or like the first week of May.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So how is it like staying mentally engaged then, I guess, during all this time? Like, how do you kind of keep that up when the schedule is so, I guess, whack and unusual?
It's definitely like pretty monotonous. I mean, you just go to practice, come back, relax, go to practice again, eat, sleep. So it's more of like, I guess you just get kind of bored. Like I like to explore and stuff. So that's been kind of a bummer, like not to be able to kind of take trips and stuff like that. That would help a lot. So I guess so it's been a little bit difficult, but also too, in another sense, at times you're able to focus kind of a little bit more in that sense and just be locked in. But it kind of goes back and forth, I guess. Like when we've had we've had multiple like month breaks. So when you're just practicing all the time, you just get burned out essentially. So that's been kind of the biggest thing, and more physically, like mentally hasn't been too bad, I guess, because you're just practicing. So like, it's more for me, like my body's just like, I could use some time off.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What are your plans after the season? Are you going to try to come back to Slovenia? Is there a next step? What do you want to hit next?
Yeah, no, after the season, I'll head back home, for the off season, head back to America, and then kind of just see what comes. I have a European agent, so he'll kind of just be, just work on some things, and it's always kind of a wait and see mentality in the off season, see what comes, and kind of go from there, see which opportunities are the best ones, and which ones I think will be the best fit, and so on and so forth, and make a decision from there, and kind of get ready for the next season. Usually seasons start around, if you go like for the first practice, it'll probably be around like August 15th that you'll leave, maybe towards the end of August, but that's kind of a benchmark for when things start back up.
Sure.
Gotcha. For just because I don't know, like for international play, is it the same sort of them scouting you and contacting you? Like, how does that whole process work?
Yeah, like I said, so like my agent's European, so he kind of has different connections with the league's teams. He's actually Slovenian, so that's kind of like
gotcha.
The connection for me to come here. But then kind of like each league, so Slovenia is a pretty respected league, but if you play well here, then you'll kind of move up. It'll be a good place to kind of springboard, so to speak. And so that's kind of like how a lot of stuff works. Like you go to a league to kind of, obviously get your name out there, put up some numbers, and then, kind of springboard yourself and continue to work your way up. In that sense, it's kind of like any other job, from the standpoint of you start one place and you just continue to build upon it, build your resume, and teams obviously kind of just look at just kind of look around, and he's marketing me too. So there's that aspect.
Gotcha.
Is there an end goal for you? Like, is there a league you really want to end up in, a country you want to end up in? Do you have kind of a target on that?
I would love to go to either Israel, Spain, or Italy would be the three that and obviously like playing in the EuroLeague would be great, which those three places have teams in the EuroLeague. But yeah, those three countries would be pretty awesome from a living standpoint and from a basketball standpoint. So yeah.
I'm pretty curious too about the difference between playing D1 and playing overseas, because you hear a lot about the difference between D1 and the NBA. Like, oh, the NBA is the guys are so much faster, everyone can shoot, they're so much more athletic, they're so much quicker, all that stuff. And I know the international game, it's a little more perimeter oriented. Obviously you got the weird key, which I'm sure took some adjusting. What are some of the biggest differences and similarities you've seen between D1 and then playing in Europe?
Yeah, I would say at the Division I level, obviously, like you said, the athleticism, length, shot blocking, talent is pretty big. But then when you come over here, like, you're playing against grown men, so there's and they're just more experienced, like more and just more skilled and mature. So kind of, but then guys aren't as, like you said, athletic. So it's kind of a contrast of styles. Like, I mean, here there are athletes, but you're not like in Slovenia, you're not going to find guys, playing above the rim. But from the so I guess that would be the biggest differences. And just, I think guys over here, like, it's just the style too is a little bit different. Like like in America, it's very a lot more open floor. Guys get up and go, and it's pretty transition oriented and free flowing. And here it's a little bit more structured, and which I guess you have college teams that are that way, more structured, system oriented. But here it's a little bit more like, teams like to run a lot more sets, and some teams don't really have like a basic like motion offense, so to speak. You run a lot more sets and stuff like that. So, and it's a shorter shot clock, so it's 24-second shot clock. And yeah, so those are kind of some of the biggest. And the other thing is that people here, it's actually pretty physical. Like,
I believe
like how
that.
in America, like, the way they call it now is very like, they allow a lot of freedom of movement. So here, like, dudes kind of like really check and stuff like that, and kind of hand check, and referees are pretty, I guess, inconsistent, but they do let a lot go. So that's kind of another like stereotype, that Europeans is more I guess softer, I guess you'd say. And so they actually do let a lot of physicality.
Gotcha.
So then how have you had to adjust your game to kind of fit that mold? Because I mean, obviously it's completely different in that sense.
Sure. Yeah. So for me here, I definitely, like, it's been good because my skill level and stuff has been great. But I'm like, I've scored a lot more here, and kind of in order to get to where you want to get, like, as an American, you're kind of asked to score a lot, and you're asked to produce really at the end of the day. So, and a lot of that's just in numbers. So, just being a lot more aggressive than I was in college. Obviously, in college, I was playing with a lot of very good players, so I was asked to facilitate more, and kind of be more of a ball mover, distributor. But here, like I said, I need to score more. So that's kind of how I've adapted a little bit more, is really be cognizant of that and intentional about that.
Have you been watching the tournament going on? I know at the time difference, that's probably killer, but
no, absolutely. What's actually nice is that it's with the tournament being, and with so many games, it's better because here I'm actually able to watch a lot more games live. So, so no, 100%. I was watching. I watched the first 4 days. So, It's been pretty awesome.
It's been a crazy tournament so far. It has been wild. I know you had both your alma maters in there. What was that like?
It was pretty cool. No, it was pretty cool. I know. Obviously, Grand Canyon got beat by Iowa, but they fought hard. And then obviously Oregon just beat Iowa. So no, it was definitely awesome to see both programs doing well. For Grand Canyon, that was the first time ever in the tournament. So yeah, so that was good, awesome for them. There was, I think, one guy that I played, or two. I'm sorry, two guys that I played with that were still there. So I was happy for those guys. And then Oregon was crazy. Yeah, GCU. So two of those guys are still there, and then they were both seniors. But then at Oregon, it was I didn't play with any of those guys, so which I know them, but it's kind of crazy. Makes me feel old.
Oregon's crazy. I feel like. Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Oregon's kind of crazy where I feel like they have a completely different like roster like makeup every single year.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So
I mean, that's
bizarre.
Yeah. It's kind of. I mean, coach does that. Like there's a lot of turnover, but I mean, he's a master of getting guys to buy in, and especially with grad transfers and 1-year guys. And I mean, he does it every year. They just continue to. They start. I mean, they may not start great, but his teams improve every year, and they play their best basketball right now. Which obviously, yesterday they played really well. So hopefully they can. Yeah. So definitely it'll be hopefully they can keep it going and kind of stay hot.
Yeah, having played for Dana Altman, I'm curious how how his coaching style fits that really well, because I mean, yeah, it is a new lineup every year, but they're always challenging for the Sweet 16, the Elite 8. So what are some strategies, I guess, that he uses as a coach to kind of get people to buy in by the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like the track record obviously speaks, so that's one thing that guys kind of buy into. And two, he's definitely, he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. Even the year we made the Final Four, we started like, I think we were like 1-2 to start the year, or something like that. And like we lost, and kind of got beat pretty bad. And he's just always talking about improving every single practice, every single game, just getting better throughout the year. And so when you hear that every day, obviously you're focused on just the things that you can continue to improve at, continue to get better at. So yeah, he just gets guys to buy into the system. And he gets guys that, he recruits guys that can play for him and that really fit, what he's trying to do. So yeah, continuing just to harp on it every single practice about just getting better is definitely how he continues to motivate guys.
So kind of going off that, because you have been through a couple tournaments, what's it like? What's the focus like? What's the difference between that and even the conference tournament? Like, how does it get increasingly more pressure on you, or do you just kind of let it go as the tournament goes on?
I would say, kind of in my experience, the more you, I'd say early on is when kind of you feel a little bit of the jitters and stuff. Once you get past that initial nervousness, you kind of settle in, especially when you get a win, and then you're kind of in a rhythm a little bit, and you just get hot. I think for us, we just found kind of our groove, because we even, the year we made the Final Four, we lost in the conference championship. So, we lost that game and obviously just, ended up getting hot and made the Final Four. So, yeah, it's just a matter of taking it one game at a time, one play at a time, and really just soaking it up. I think that was the biggest thing we focused on, was just enjoying it, staying in the moment, and taking it one game at a time.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's so many dudes on that team that they made the league, and it's
right.
Peyton Pritchard was a freshman. You got Dylan Brooks, Boucher,
right,
Dorsey, all those guys. Which of those dudes would show off the most in practice? I'm curious, because you hear stories a lot of times about guys, that like they go crazy in practice, even if they're not the best player on the team or something.
Yeah, I would say everybody had their moments. I mean, we with that much talent, but Dylan Brooks was always he's one of the most competitive dudes I've been around. So, it didn't matter what it was. He was always trying to win. And he was, like I said, he was just a competitor. It didn't, he would want to guard the other team's best player. He would, go at whoever was guarding him. And he just brought that level of competitiveness every day. So I would say from a consistency standpoint, he was the one, but everybody, I mean, everybody had their moments for sure.
Kind of switching gears a little bit, did you have like a player or players that you kind of like emulated or at least tried to growing up, or like at least learn like moves from?
Yeah, no, I mean, growing up, obviously in Phoenix, like Nash was right there. So I watched Nash, all the time. So he was somebody who I tried to really model my game after and take a lot of things from. And then it was fun. Once Dragic got to the NBA, I really tried to take stuff from him too. He's a lefty about my size. So he's definitely somebody who I've tried to watch and kind of model, just different things after and stuff. So those two guys definitely really that I've tried to take stuff from and really study and watch.
Kind of going off the Dragic thing, I know he's from Slovenia, and kind of going off of that, what is it like in Slovenia? Like, how big is Luka over there? Because obviously, I mean, with him being like one of the biggest prospects from overseas, especially from, obviously biggest from Slovenia ever. He's
huge, and it's not a big country, so he's like obviously a Slovenian hero. What's funny is, because he played at Real Madrid since he was like 13, so he left here when he was young, but still, he's beloved to say the least. And he's, he obviously is really, 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 really good. So, but yeah, people love him, especially, And so, and then they actually Slovenia won like the European Championships like 3 years ago, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was a big, big deal for the country too. So he's definitely cherished.
I feel like he's like their national icon at this point over there.
No, 100%. Yeah, that's a 21-year-old or whatever he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Younger than me. I'm like, what the heck?
No, for sure. It's crazy.
So I kind of got to ask, kind of going back to the Final Four, because I've been a Duck fan for a very long time, and I've always wondered, in your guys' opinion, like the players, I know Boucher got hurt. Did you guys feel like you would have won the championship had you had Boucher, if you're being honest?
Yeah, I really do. Like, obviously I think we lost by 1 or whatever it was. And we had a chance, chance to obviously win it. We were right there. But yeah, I think losing Chris was it just goes without saying how important he was to our team, just not only defensively, but offensively. He was averaging double figures, he lead the country in block shots. Like, he just did a lot of different things for our team that you just can't really substitute. So, I definitely think if we would have had him, it would have been a very different story. But then again, then you can make the comment too that if we had him, Tyler Dorsey probably wouldn't have played as well as he would have. Different guys stepped up, so it was just kind of the way it happens. But no, I think, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Tyler Dorsey and Jordan Bell were a beast during that Final Four.
No, for sure, it was. Both of them, yeah. Like Jordan obviously against Kansas and Michigan was just unbelievable. We had him and then one other big, but he was all over the place.
Yeah, that was insane to watch. I was like, this guy is crazy.
I thought it was interesting when you talked about how like the pressure kind of eases a little bit when you're going throughout the tournament. I'm sure, especially after, like you mentioned, after getting a win, your confidence grows a bit. You're back to just playing basketball. But the Final Four is a whole different ball game. So I'm just curious what that experience is like, honestly, because I mean, none of us three are ever going to get to the point of playing in the Final Four. So
probably not.
Like, I mean, that's like the like
No.
playing in your driveway, like imagining like
Right. No,
I'm in the Final Four trying to hit the game-winning shot.
No, it was pretty surreal. That's to say the least. And for me, it was back in Phoenix, so
Yeah.
it was
yeah.
in my
Oh
hometown.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that made it even more special. I had friends and family there. So I mean, but it's obviously, like you said, a dream come true. So when I was, my mindset was just soaking it all in, and kind of at that point, like the way they treat it is like almost like you have 4 champions. Like, I mean, obviously you only have one national championship, but like each team won their region. So like, I mean, once you get there, it's like a party isn't necessarily, I mean, obviously it's business, but like there's just so much going on to where it's like it was just more fun for me than anything. Like I mean, once the game comes, obviously you have some nerves and stuff like that, but I just tried to enjoy it all and have fun with it. But no, like I said, it was a pretty surreal experience just to be like, and this is what you dream about, and you're here, and playing in a football stadium was definitely an interesting experience. And you feel like you're kind of on an island out in the middle on the court, and kind of everybody's just surrounding, with 70,000 people there or whatever it was. But so no, it was a pretty special experience.
Does that
It's kind
it being a different stadium, does that make like a difference for shooting? Because I've always heard like I know there's that one game I was on the aircraft carrier that one year, and they never done that again. And then I've heard from the football stadiums, like, does that actually do anything with depth perception?
Yeah, maybe like for us, I think we should. We shot it pretty well, so it actually wasn't too bad. And you get some practice, you get some time to kind of practice in there and get a little bit adjusted.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we weren't just kind of like out there cold turkey, shooting and stuff. So from that standpoint, it was kind of nice, but it is different. Like obviously behind the backboard is so much. I mean, it's like goes so far back to where it's significantly different. But it was nice to get some practice time in there, and be able to get adjusted.
It's kind of funny because that stadium down in Phoenix, as Pacific Northwest fans, we've always called that the Kerr Stadium because that's where Seattle lost. That's where you guys lost. Oregon, Gonzaga lost there. And then we've had so many injuries there in Seattle. So we're like, no, we don't like playing there.
I forgot. Yeah, because Gonzaga lost in the final. That's right.
Yeah, Gonzaga lost in the final there. So we're like, nah, it's not a good stadium.
And then Kendall, the one time you and I went was for the Fiesta Bowl that one year. I mean, it was Central Florida LSU, true. Which we watched Joe Burrow. We had no idea who we were watching at that point. And I got super sick. So I was like, you gotta be kidding me. The stadium does not pull its punches. Yeah, another guy that was on that team, I don't know if we brought him up or not, but Peyton Pritchard, who obviously turned out to be, to put it lightly, very good. I'm curious. I'm sure you were a little bit, at least, involved in kind of mentoring him and bringing him into the program. What was that like, and what did you see in him right away?
No, I mean, Peyton's another guy that's obviously extremely competitive, which is why he's at where he's at today. No, I mean, extremely hard worker, and I mean, and he's playing really well for the Celtics right now. He just continues to get better. I think it's just a testament to how hard he works, and just the hours and the time that he puts in the gym. But no, we obviously, like, I mean, him coming in, and initially we butted heads a little bit, but then we ended up being by the time it went on, we ended up being pretty close by the end of the year and stuff. So I think that was cool. Obviously we butted heads because we were competing, we were both the same position. So, we were kind of going at each other and stuff. So it wasn't like that type of butting heads. It was more just competitors and stuff. So, but then obviously as time went on, we played together and stuff. And it was definitely, he was a great guy to play with. And I think we both complemented each other nice, being 2 point guards. So no, it's been really cool to see him and playing so well with Celtics, and obviously already carving out a niche in the NBA as a rookie.
Yeah. Kind of a different question. I mean, I know I can, and I'm sure you can too, just remember the moment and like where I was when, sorry, this is a very, very like different question from where we're going.
No worries.
From like the moment we were all in when we got the news that Kobe had passed away. Like, can you speak to like just like where you were, or like, and like what that means to you? I know he's obviously a very inspirational player for a lot of us, especially people our age, since we grew up watching him. Can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was in Bulgaria. I was with the two other Americans on my team. We were eating dinner at this restaurant, and one of them got a text from like his friend saying like Kobe passed, and we didn't believe it. Initially we were like kind of in shock, like, no, he's lying, like he's joking. And then I Googled it, and sure enough, it was true. So, yeah, obviously, like something I'll never forget where I was, and what was going through my mind. It was just kind of shock, really, at the end of the day. Somebody that was legendary as a basketball player, and I'm a Kobe fan, so I'm more of a Kobe fan than I am a LeBron fan. So, it was definitely, like you said, in shock, and just sad. At the end of the day, it was not just didn't seem real. Was kind of, somebody who's impacted the game so much, and left a legacy that's second to none.
Yeah.
What do you remember? Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Oh, go for it. No, I didn't have a question. You're good.
I was curious. What do you remember most about the time Kobe came and talked to the team?
Ooh, yeah, that was actually, by far one of the coolest experiences I've been a part of. But we had no idea. It was a surprise. So we thought we were watching film, and so we didn't want to be there. And because it was like it was kind of dropped on it. Like we went to dinner, and they're like, "Oh, we watching film." So we were like, it was really abnormal. Like we would never do that. But it was fun for us. So then we were kind of like, well, maybe we would. So anyways, he kind of came out of this like closet, and we were like taken back, like what the heck? Like, and so, just how he talked, and just how cerebral, and just, how different his mindset was, is, what made him the player. Obviously he's extremely gifted, just naturally, but just the work that he put in, and just how much time and how hard he worked. It was pretty unreal to hear him talk about what he did, and just his mindset, and how he wouldn't be stopped. It was pretty crazy. Just the different stories that he told about the things that he would do in his training, and so on and so forth.
Kind of going from one NBA legend to the next. I know around here, and I'm sure in general, the Pacific Northwest and the West in general, Bill Walton is a huge meme for us. And we had found out right before we looked it up, we saw that you had met him. We're just, is Bill that much of a character? Like, how much of that is like Bill, and how much of that is like him playing it up for ESPN? Like, is he really like
he's
that in real
awesome.
life?
Yeah, I love him. Like I would talk to him before every game. Like
oh, wow.
he and the funny thing is like we'd have a normal like I remember one game I was talking to him. I just asked him about John Wood. Just different like interesting questions, and we had like a normal conversation. Then he gets on ESPN. He's, I don't know, talking about like the most bizarre things that you could think of. So that's the funny thing. There is definitely he is a goofy guy, don't get me wrong, but like some of it is just like him doing that to get ratings, probably just to be over the top. But yeah, like we would have normal conversation. I always enjoyed talking with him. So yeah, no, he was, I really enjoyed it. But a lot of people don't like listening to him on ESPN, but I enjoy it. Like just the off the wall things he says.
I love it.
Yeah, it makes the game more entertaining. I mean, when he's talking about like, I don't know, Indian tribes and stuff like that, or like random, like, it's pretty funny to listen to.
Do you
I
have
was watching I was just gonna say I was watching the championship game when it was Colorado versus Oregon State. I'm like, man, Bill's actually being pretty normal today, and then he starts going D. D. I'm like, nope, I take back what I said.
For sure.
Do you have a favorite Bill Walton soundbite that I mean, there's too many to choose. I feel like it might be too tough a question, but
I think honestly, what's the best is just listening to him, like when he's with Dave Pasch and how they go back and forth. And Pasch just like, he'll come back with like sarcasm and stuff. Like, man, I'm trying to think. The thing that comes one of the things that comes off the top of my head, like he was talking about, I think this was when Luke was with Golden State, and I think Bill Walton. Somehow they were talking about Nash. I think he was talking about me and how my favorite player was Steve Nash, and he said, like, what is Steve Nash up to now? And I think Dave Pasch was like, oh, he's a consultant for the Warriors, and so Bill was like, well, like, what does that mean? He's like, he's a consultant for the Warriors, like exactly what it said, what I said. And he's like, well, what does he tell him? To like give the ball to Steph Curry and Kevin Durant? And then Dave Pasch said something sarcastic about like, well, that's probably just what Luke tells him to do or something like that. Like it was pretty fun. But he just, I mean, just the most bizarre stuff.
He is a character. I love how and it's just like Eugene from Eugene, how he always talks about Amari or Big
Eugene
Frank.
from
Now
Eugene.
every single time I see him come in, I'm just like, or like make any first play, I just have Bill Walton's soundbite in my head.
Do you remember Roman Sorkin?
What was it? He's got 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember him.
When Roman would come in the game, he would talk about Roman, and like that was pretty funny too.
I'm totally blanking on who it was.
I remember
He tried
there was
to
one game
petition
in like
for-
2014 or something that he was like talking about like.
Nice.
I think we.
He got.
Oh, there we go. Are we back?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, all right.
I can't remember for the life of Kendall. Do you remember who it was that he kept referring to as Snoop Dogg on Oregon?
Oh, Dwayne Benjamin.
Yes, that's who it
Yes.
was.
Yeah.
Benjamin.
That was.
I think that was my
awesome.
favorite.
I forgot about that. Dwayne hated it. That was the thing. Yeah, like
really?
like Bill Walton acted like he had permission to call him Snoop Dogg, and Dwayne didn't like it, and so.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. He was like, he'd always be like, "Throw it down, Snoop Dogg," or like, stuff like that. It was just like, and he didn't. Yeah, Dwayne didn't like it at all.
That makes it so much better. Much better.
Yeah.
What did I mean, we're totally going on a Bill Walton tangent here, but what did like the team think? Like, what did your team think of him? Like,
oh man.
Because I mean, if you don't like talk to him, you just hear him on ESPN, but then he's also a little goofy in real life.
Yeah, I think everybody just looks at him as like Goofy Bill. I mean, because he would come to our shoot arounds wearing like tie-dye shirts and like jeans that like didn't even, they were like too short almost. And like, he had such like, I mean, he had such crazy injuries. Like when he walks, like, he like looks like he's hurting, and stuff like that. So it would be funny. Like he would like talk to different guys maybe during shoot around or before the game and like write down notes and stuff. It's like, you aren't using these notes, but yeah, he would just like say the most off, like I think whatever just came to his mind, he would just speak.
Kind of transitioning topics a little bit. I kind of want to know a little bit more about what was your decision to transfer from Oregon to Grand Canyon. I know that you're from the Arizona area down there. I believe it's Tempe that you're from.
Yeah.
What kind of, was that a big part of it, just going back to your home, or was there just
Definitely.
more playing opportunity?
Yeah, really. The reason that I did, my brother was an assistant coach there. Yeah, so that was like, I think when I decided to transfer, I visited Wisconsin, and I was going to visit Butler too, and then obviously Grand Canyon. But yes, I mean the reason that I like I said, my brother was an assistant coach, so had he not been there, I mean, that wouldn't really have probably been much of a thought. So it was pretty special to go play for him for my last year, and be with him all the time, and because he's my best friend. So so that was a pretty special experience. And obviously, to go home and play in front of my family was a big deal too. So that was kind of the biggest pull in that sense.
And speaking of your brother, I know he's on the Gonzaga coaching staff. So if they end up playing in the Elite Eight, which it's looking decent chance, who you pulling for?
I got to go with family. So I'll go with the Zags.
I'm curious. So being in Eugene, you're in the Portland area. So did you have any interactions with any Blazer players, or did you get to know any of the guys? Did any of them come down and talk to the team, anything like that?
Not really. I do a guy that I train with. Kind of funny too. My brother played at Weber State for a couple years, and so his last year there was Lillard's first year.
Okay.
So he knows Lillard pretty well and stuff. But then they had an assistant coach that I was really close with, who I train with at times in the off season, who trains Lillard. So there was one. This was like maybe 2 summers ago. I was up in Portland training with him, and then like Dame came in after us and would train and stuff like that. So not that we had like big time interactions or anything, but I got to stay and watch him work out and stuff, which was pretty cool. I mean, just seeing just the level of intensity that he brings just to a workout, and obviously, which I mean, it goes to show with how he's played in his career. But but other than that, like I haven't really had too many interactions with Blazers guys.
What are those workouts like? I mean, they obviously have to go full speed all the time to get that good, but
for sure. No, and I think those guys, I mean, and he would probably talk about it too. I know he talks about it, but I think now, like in his career, he's probably just working smarter as opposed to working like it's more about quality than quantity, I guess you'd say. Mm-hmm. Which, don't get me wrong, I mean, the quantity's still a lot, but but I mean, I just think that he's so sharp and focused as to what he wants to do each off season that I'm probably just focuses on certain things that he really wants to lock into and just get better at, and he really just drills it constantly and brings that into the next season, which is as you see him being one of the greatest players in the world, he still continues to get better and better each year.
Yeah, it is funny that you say that, because following the team year after year, and so like seeing Damian's progression, I really have noticed specifically this year that like he has a really big, he now like controls the game when he's on the court, like way more than he ever has. Like you can tell in the first 3 quarters, like his goal is to set up everyone else way more than even scoring himself. And then in the fourth quarter, that obviously that changes. Like he knows it's winning time. He knows he needs to get his, but like he seems to be very comfortable now and like I'll get mine. Like don't worry about me anymore.
Right. No, I think that's. I mean, it just goes to show how good he is. Like I mean, he just knows he can. Do we freeze?
I think you're good.
Okay.
You good? You could keep going.
I think I'm back.
Okay. No, I think it just goes to show that. I mean, just how good he is. Like he can really. I mean, he can score at will. So, I think when he gets everybody else going and gets everybody else involved, he can turn it on and go get his 30 or whatever. It's just like, which sounds. Yeah. And so. No, it's a really good point. He just controls the tempo of the game and just picks and chooses his spots and knows how to be strategic about it.
So as you have developed as a player going from college to pro, how have you adjusted the way you work out? What skills do you work on more? What have you tried to hone in a little more on, and what do those workouts look like?
Yeah, I think definitely like the pro game the European game is predicated on primarily off pick and rolls. So continuing just to watch film and different ways that I can attack and get better off the ball screen, be more efficient, whether it's scoring or distributing. it's kind of a lot of, what I've done over these last couple of years. And so, and I think trying to do the same thing each off season, pick one or two things. Obviously, I think pick one or two things and being really focused on doing those things. Whether it's being a knockdown shooter, for anybody, knockdown shooter, or like I said, the ball screen, or if I want to implement extending my range, or really getting to the mid range, just finishes. So really choosing kind of one or two things to really harp on in the off season is kind of how I approach it.
So if a little kid like 8 or 10 came up to you and was like, how do I get really good at shooting? What's the thing I need to work on? What would you tell them?
Man, I would say as a little kid, really the foundation. So, really just starting off with, almost, depending on how old they were, almost like form shots, and just continuing to work, to work our way out, and just building a foundation of shooting it the right way, with balance and pace, and, kind of just the mechanics of it would be kind of how I would approach it.
You guys good?
Yes. So kind of closing it out, just kind of looking back, is there something that really stands with you from your time at Oregon?
Man,
I know it's kind of a broad question.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think looking back at it, I probably it was in the moment, like when you're in it, it's easy to like lose track of kind of how special different things are. And now, like when you watch college basketball, it's like, wow, it's a pretty special experience. I mean, obviously going to the Final Four and stuff, those, kind of go without saying, but just each game, obviously in this year, they weren't able to have fans and stuff. So kind of that aspect of it, having students and, just great crowds every week, and being able to travel to different places and, experience different things and stuff. Those memories were great. And just the guys that I played with, too, kind of those memories and just the relationships we were able to develop and stuff was awesome. And just, I think the memories of winning a lot of games, obviously we had some successful teams, so that was fun. And it's probably even more so now, but just the NCAA tournament itself, playing in that was, a dream come true. So those are kind of, I guess, in a nutshell, maybe some different memories.
For sure. Well, hey, Casey, we appreciate you coming on the podcast today. Where can fans, former Oregon fans, where can they find you? Where can they track your career?
Yeah, so whether it's I've been off Instagram, so I have a Twitter, but I'll probably get back on Instagram I needed to get off of it over here. It's anyways. So I get back on media. Yeah, basically it's like you have so much time over here that I was like, man, I need to do something different with my time right now. But yeah, I'll probably get back on that. But Twitter, I think Eurobasket is kind of where they have a lot of the European stuff, so on and so forth. But yeah, so that's kind of basically I need to get back on Instagram if people want to really. It's just probably the social media is it's the age we live in. So.
You just need to journal your adventures over there, dude, like a little food diary or something.
For sure. Exactly.
Yeah. Release a book or something.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, thanks again, Casey. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
He's Casey Benson, former Oregon and Grand
Canyon
guys. Guard, playing pro in Slovenia now. And this has been episode 9 of the Y-Ball Starters.
All right. Cool. Thanks, man, for coming on.